welcome each of you here. As we begin each of our meetings, I ask you if you would like to join us in a moment of silence as we begin our meeting. Amen. Now at this time we are going to ask our Seneca High School softball state champions to come in. And if you will stand with me, one of these girls is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
No, you're fine. Just stand up there.
Yeah, good.
That's good. Let everybody come in.
Yeah, we'll do multiple rows. We'll get some standing behind you.
Some of y'all can stand up and come back behind. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Y'all may be seated.
And you girls just stay put a second.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stand over here so y'all can kind of see me as I talk. Our board has a goal of trying to be a top 10 district in multiple arenas of the school district, so not just academically, but in fine arts competitions and athletic competitions. And we try to recognize teams and individuals who win state level competitions. And fortunately, we had a very good spring at Seneca Athletics. And the last time we recognized the girls' track team, it was just days after softball had won, so we didn't have time to get them here, so we're thankful that they joined us in July. But the Seneca girls softball team won the state championship this past school year. We got Coach Payton here. I put him on the spot, asked him if he'd maybe share a couple of words about the girls this year, and then we're going to ask the school board in just a minute to come down and get a picture for our website, and Mr. Hamby will tweet it out for everybody. But Coach Payton,
this year's team, really, just a really special group of young ladies, worked tremendously hard way back. COVID kind of helped out a lot because they shut us down. So we just spent a lot of time in the weight room and got stronger. As a result, this team hit 43 home runs.
Wow.
Generally we hit in the teens. This team did 43 home runs. If I was coached somewhere else, I'd be wanting to check the bats. But we don't dock them. 28-8 overall record. We had 4 going to play college softball out of 5 seniors. Emily set a school record, 15 home runs, which broke pitching coach's Sydney's record. Oh, here she is. But just a real special group of young ladies that they get along so well. The dugout was electrifying every game, and just couldn't be prouder of them. And I really want to thank Dr. Thorslin and the school board for recognizing us. We're proud to be here, and thanks a lot. We're going to get the board members to come stand, so if y'all can kind of make some room there, we're going to get a picture that we'll put on our website so you guys can see. We'll share. Y'all come on.
Get back, get behind you.
All right, y'all just make sure you can see Mr. Henderson on. All right, thanks, Coach Payton. Dr. Ketterman, Mr. Mayor, y'all will stay put. So just the two of you. So our second recognition tonight is Mr. Bear and Dr. Ketterman. So when we get new school board members elected, the state of South Carolina, there's a state statute that says that newly elected school board members have to go through training, and they get their professional development on how to be an effective school board member from the South Carolina School Boards Association. And Mr. Bear and Dr. Ketterman have joined the board in less than 12 months ago, both of them. And they've already achieved their level 1 status, so they've completed the requirements of them to be effective school board members. They've been great, wonderful additions to our school board. So we want to thank them for taking the time, because it does take time. It takes time and effort to be trained to be a school board member, and they're both doing a great job. So let Ms. McCormick present them with a certificate. All right, stand up. So here then? Thank you.
Good job. All right, at this time we need an approval for tonight's agenda. You were sent that earlier, and did anybody have any additions or anything they needed added to it? All right, then it is approved with no objection. At this time, we have time for public comment, and I understand there are several of you speaking tonight. Just to remind you, there's a 5-minute maximum limit, and Sandy, you have cards?
I do.
Oh, Steve has cards. All right, if you get close, going to hold up.
4 minutes is yellow, 5 minutes is time's up.
So we just ask you to respect that, because we do have several speakers tonight. So at this point, we'll just call the first one.
Lukewarm.
So I stand right here.
You can stress it.
Okay, guys, this thing working? Hopefully it is. All right. First off, you guys came out strong in the Seneca Journal about coming out against the idea of critical race theory being introduced as curriculum. You were the strongest. We appreciate that. But all of you taking a stance, we thank you for that. We thank you for paying attention to that, and we're here to help you guys in that stance, because some people's going to call you racist for it, you know. You can't never make everybody happy. But with that being said, the way I looked at being able to help you guys is looking into some of the things that are happening. We had some teachers come to us and just make known that there is some meetings happening called Being the Change. It's this book right here. And this book right here, I went through it, I ordered it, read it, went through it. And it does not teach critical race theory, but what it does is teaches the teachers how to nudge kids to ask their own questions so that they can open the windows so they can give all kind of answers. It's supposed to be against bias, but number one, it teaches the teachers how to nudge the kids to ask questions so that they can put in their views. This book is biased from one end to the other, and usually there is 3 sides to every story. This view, that view, and the truth that lays somewhere in the middle. That's usually the way it goes. So I'm going to try to keep it right down the middle as much as possible. And the way to do that is first telling you that everything in this book is not bad. A lot of this stuff, if it had that little twist of bias and those little things slipped in there, it might be a pretty good book. But the entire book is against Trump. So his policies and supports activism the whole way through. So in examples, and I passed out some papers here. And in some of those papers, you'll see some of these examples I'm going to say. But we're going to go to page 21, right here in the beginning. Before it even gets into what the actual trying to teach teachers how to bring up these topics. We have a lot of friends that are Mexican. We don't want a wall. My family won't be able to come here if they ban Muslims. We play soccer together, our Mexican friends and all of us. We don't want a big wall between the U.S. and Mexico or a war. Even my family, they cannot come here. They will be banned from coming to America because they're Muslim. Now, that's against policies. But we'll go to page 79. Page 79 gives an example of what you should see from your students. It says, the third line on my news says Donald Trump, and it has a mad face. And over on the right-hand side at my thinking, it says Donald Trump is the worst. Why are America and North Korea fighting? Why would they want to start a war? Does he think that North Korea is easy to fight against? Or is he thinking that he is going to start with North Korea? Okay. And I've got 4 more topics right there where it's anti-Trump and anti-conservative policy that he passed. Never once does it say anything in the opposite direction. So if you're against bias, if you do go against one side, you also have to go against the other side. You have to give the straight truth from both sides, whether you agree with it or whether you don't, if you're not going to be biased. Right? I mean, that's pretty standard. But this book, teachers have let us know that this is the one that they're doing meetings out of, monthly meetings. And it's been stated that you know, it's pretty anti-white in the meeting. So I would really love for you guys to take a closer look at this so that it don't slip in behind you. If you guys are against critical race theory, just because this don't call it critical race theory and it gives critical race theory ideology, then it is the same thing. So we'll go faster here. Shows bias against males, page 49. Ask the kids to draw a scientist, a teacher, and a doctor, and a couple other things. If you drew a male, you did something bad. It says here. We could try to save the moment, and this is talking about when somebody drew a male and they asked him why you drew a guy. We could try to save the moment perhaps by saying, oh, it's okay, you didn't mean anything bad. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm probably going to go over your time.
10 seconds.
Well, I've got an entire book of this thing, but it talks about microaggressions. Microaggressions are known as, I love your hair. Did you make that? Are there Native Americans alive? I love your hair is considered a microaggression, and that's what they're training the teachers to teach our kids in these meetings. I've got 2 kids. They're in this school. I got 10 seconds, or I'm going to take it. The thing is, going on through here, I've did 150 pages in this book, and we're going to go right to the last thing because it's the most important, and that's what you guys have. Teaches our kids to be activists. How many of you guys approve of the kids being trained to be activists? I'm assuming, hopefully, none of you. We're supposed to teach kids math, reading, science. We're not supposed to teach them this stuff. People are rightfully outraged in response to another shooting in a school or religious institute, yet we continue to allow the speech and irresponsible gun laws to hide behind the Bill of Rights. We protest after another innocent black man is killed by police. Consider the times that you have been proactive. We can stay informed, raise awareness, and advocate. We can be advocates. What small acts can we do to shift day to day? Who can we call to make the change? What or whom can we stand up to? There are no bystanders. We all have a role. How are you talking to your kids about bigotry, race, and racism? We must be proactive with our privilege. Educators are experts and civic actors, yet we are often told to detach ourselves from the issues that directly impact our lives. Then it goes on down and says, this does our kids a grave disservice. We need to engage with the issues that our future generations will care about. We can embolden them to ask their questions when something don't feel right, or look at issues in the world around them with a critical lens. We can affirm their identities and communities. We can model for our students the power of compassion, of speaking up in the face of injustice, and making the choice to be brave even when it is hard. We need all voices on deck. We cannot afford to remove ethics from education. We cannot continue to experience implications of its absence. And I don't read This last little bit and I'll be done.
I'm sorry. Thank you for being here.
This is the most important part.
I'm sorry. We have a number of people to
I understand that you are sorry, but
speak.
ma'am, I understand that. I'll be quick as I can. It's just the last little bit. I am convinced that every class of the kids that I work with is full of change agents who will make this world one we teach towards. I believe my students will carry the work of doing this into their own lives. It happens in the moments you break your silent complicity and embrace discomfort. Be upstanders, and to realize the impact they have in society. It is an awe-inspiring responsibility, but it is something you and I, people who believe in our kids, are uniquely qualified to undertake. I understand my time's up. You guys came out against this teaching. I want to bring it to you and show you that this teaching is coming in through the back door behind your backs. I hope that you'll take this and look at it and really see. If you're against the teaching, then you're against this teaching right here in this book that is being taught to your teachers. So we're asking you to continue on the direction that you're headed, and we're going to do everything we can to help you as long as y'all head that direction. This is for our kids' future, and this is what we stand for. Thank you.
And next,
David Dial.
Hey, good afternoon, folks. My name is David Dial. My wife and I live in the Richland community, which is District 4, and thank you very much for this opportunity. So to start off with, Mr. Moore brought this up. I'm sure you're well aware of the 4-part series of journal ran last week regarding critical race theory, or CRT, training that is going on around the country, and if it has a place or not in our county. I want to thank each of you for the comments you made, the board, regarding this issue, especially Mrs. McCormick, District 4, and Dr. Thorsland, for your stands against this unneeded indoctrination of our children and grandchildren. I think the Our View editorial written by the Journal on the final day of the series on Friday summed it up very, very well. Now, Dr. Thorson, after serving in the military for over a quarter of a century, I fully understand that you would have to follow any law coming out of Columbia, like I had to follow orders, whether I liked them or not. But I want you to know I'm asking all our representative in handwritten letters to support H.R. 4343, which prohibits CRT training at the state level. So I'm doing my part to assist all of you to hold the line. Again, though, I appreciate both Ms. McCormick and your support on this issue. Now, occasionally my wife and I attend Jazz on the Alley events held on Thursday nights, of course, on Ramcat Alley. If we like the band or the singer, we usually try to sit close to the bandstand. It is so much fun, it really is, to watch all the children playing and dancing with each other, regardless of their race, appearance, or if they have any kind of obvious disabilities. They're all just having a good time, just having a good time. And we just enjoy that so much. They do not see color in any other difference. They just want to play. So now, with that said, I'm hearing a little bit of rumblings from parents in the Walhalla area, namely from James Brown Elementary, about some teachers having to read books, CRT books, against their will. This does need to be investigated. Just because CRT is not mentioned, words like diversity, equity, or inclusion are usually code words for this training. And since this training is not funded, government funded, it needs to be stopped inside the school if it's going in. But again, I want to thank each of you for your stand against this. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Harry Smith.
Hello, folks. My name is Perry Smith. I'm a manufacturing engineer, and I've been employed by the same employer for 27 years. I would like to thank you for your stance on the critical race theory that you have shown in the paper. So what I want to talk to you about today is I ran across a lifelong friend, that I've known pretty much my whole life. And we began, she is a teacher at James Brown Elementary. And we began talking about all of this stuff, the critical race theory. And what she told me was fairly disturbing. She began to tell me about a book study that she and all of the faculty have to attend once a month at James Brown Elementary. I'm going to lose my... And the book is Be the Change. I think it's the same book that Luke just spoke about. She and most of her co-workers feel that this book is anti-Christian, Marxist, and felt it was discriminating, as they felt as a white person they needed to apologize for that. This is how the teachers feel at James Brown Elementary. This is being pushed, from what I understand, by the James Brown Elementary vice principal. And like I said, I was told this by a teacher. These teachers are mad, but they're scared to speak with any of you because they fear for their job, in which I can understand that with the way that things are today. I would like to ask Dr. Thorsland to interview each of these teachers at James Brown Elementary in private so you can get a better understanding of their feelings, their fears, and their concerns. It's the only way you're going to get the truth and get the evidence that you need to understand this is happening. Another way that you can do this, in which I'd like to ask the board as well as Dr. Thorsland, is to put out an anonymous survey to this entire school. From what I understand, it's not only is it the teachers, but it's the janitorial staff. It's everyone that has to go to this mandatory meeting. Put out an anonymous survey where you can get this information from everyone. Let them do this survey. But I urge you to please interview these teachers and see what they think. It's going to be the only way, and I know one of them will be happy to tell you the truth. And she said if you talk to her, she'll tell you. But she's not going to just come forward. She's scared. And looking online, you can see that James Brown Elementary, they don't rank very high in South Carolina on the standardized test scores. To me, it would make better sense to discuss in these study groups. It would make better sense to discuss better ways to serve the students, these children, better ways to help them in their future. By learning reading, writing, arithmetic, instead of, trying to get them to see you and I as different, or just different. If a student knows a teacher's party affiliation, that teachers should not be teaching. That is my opinion. They should not be teaching if they know your party affiliation. These are children. They need to learn this through their parents bringing them up, through them making their own decisions in minds. They should be able to make this up on their own, not from a teacher. Also, the taxpayers pay a lot of money for the schools in Oconee County. Discrimination does not discriminate. And in today's society, in today's culture, it's not going to matter what race you are, but women teachers are being discriminated against, in my opinion, in James Brown Elementary. And that's something that's worth looking into with the way things go. And it could avoid Oconee County having to deal with lawyers, in my opinion, because these teachers are upset. And that's what I was told. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Houston Miller.
He's not here.
Okay. David McMahon.
thank you, all board members and staff up here, and I just want to say I'm just happy. I'm up here happy and smiling because the wonderful news, especially after the Daily Journal done a great job investigating critical race theory, I'm happy as a parent with 2 children in the school district right now. I'm happy on behalf of the Republican Party that you guys took a stand and against this terrible thing called critical race theory. It's going to set our racial inclusion and stuff back 100 years if we didn't start really reading into the aspects of what's going on. I'm just happy. I can't. It's hard to say what I'm trying to say is, but in May, the Republican Party executive committees met in Columbia, all 46 counties, and they all unanimously voted to ban critical race theory and send that resolution to our state legislators. And of course, you all know how our state legislators feel right now. They're against critical race theory as well. So I hope that you, all you ladies and gentlemen, are proud to be a part of keeping Marxism out of our schools, because you're playing a big part, the state's playing a big part, and the nation's playing a big part. People are getting it across this country right now, and you guys are right there with it. I really appreciate y'all. One thing about the state now, as y'all are probably aware, House 4343, it's in the House bill right now, to ban critical race theory, and also this bill actually has teeth in it. If they ban critical race theory in the state of South Carolina, and the teeth is where if they find that a school is teaching it, they're going to cut public funding to that school. So it's got some teeth into it. I don't know if y'all read the bill yet, but it's got some teeth, and that's great. But on behalf of the Republican Party, they're all delighted. There's district directors here in the crowd tonight, and I just can't be more happy with y'all. I'm proud of y'all, and thank y'all so much.
Thank you. At this time, y'all have all seen the minutes. They were sent earlier for the June 7th, 2021 combined board meeting. Did anyone have any changes, additions, deletions? All right, then those minutes will stand approved with no objection. And at this time, we will have Dr. Thorsland's superintendent's report.
Thanks. Just a quick update. This is kind of our kickoff week for the next school year. So the 21-22 school year, we have all of our principals back in buildings this week. Our elementary schools opened today, so we're looking forward to our kind of return to the school year. Administrators meeting on Thursday. We'll have that out at the new Career Center. So we're looking forward to kicking off. Our plans are to start the year as normal as possible. We discussed this morning just kind of with COVID, there's still, of course, some cases increasing. There's some concern about that, but our plan is to start the school year like normal. Of course, mask optional. There does not appear to be any state mandate coming our way. There has been some talk about, with elementary schools. The American Academy of Pediatrics came out today and recommended mask wearing for young children. Of course, we didn't do that in kindergarten through second grade even last year. So we don't anticipate too many restrictions, if any. There probably will still be quarantines if students actually get sick or if they are exposed. Of course, anyone who is vaccinated would not be subject to that. We're not pushing in any way vaccines. We've made them available to our faculty and staff, of course, last spring. They're available to students now. But we anticipate starting the year regularly. August 10th for our middle and high schools, and then August 16th for our elementary schools. So we're looking forward to a good start to the school year. I did want to report one other thing. You may remember last year we started applying for DHEC grants, for water filling stations. We did close most of our water fountains because of COVID, so students weren't putting their hands and their mouths close to the water fountains. So we got some water filling stations so that students could go by and fill their water bottles. We got $25,000 in grants to put those filling stations in 17 different schools, installed throughout the school district. And just last school year, as many as 150,000 water bottles were saved because of those filling stations, which is a good thing. And we put them in all of our schools except for Hamilton Career and Technology Center, simply because those were installed. It's such a new school, they were installed as part of the build process there. So we're looking forward to a good start to the school year, and hoping things will kick off positively. I know students, I heard a report today that a grandmother was telling me that her 3 grandkids were excited and ready to get back, and that's just kind of the time of year. This time of year, people start thinking about the next school year, and we're excited to get started.
That's great.
That's really all I have.
All right, and you still have the floor with us with policy CC-E.
Thank you. And this is just an update to more closely reflect our organizational chart. It's been a couple of years, and I actually, you approved a change that last year or a couple of years ago, and we had a couple of directors that were not even on the org chart for one reason or another. So this is just an update to get it to reflect the current titles and organizational structure. So it's just for you to look at tonight, ask any questions, and because this is actually a policy in our policy manual, it will require 2 readings to be changed. So this is just discussion, then you'd have a chance to vote on it in August and again in September before it's finalized. But this does reflect the current structure of our district level leadership. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, but of course the leadership team is the group sitting here on the stage with Ms. Moore and Mr. Hanby and Ms. Simmons. So they occupy those division heads, and then their staff that kind of falls under them.
Good job.
Ms. Dodd, I'll give her credit for making it match the school district logo and all that. I can put things in the right place. I don't always make them look pretty like she does, so she's helped me with that. But.
Okay. So we'll have our first reading for that.
Not until next time.
month.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that'll be great. All right, Mrs. Moore, our June financial report, please.
Okay. Did get the report earlier. Just wanted to make a couple of comments. This is the June 30th report, but we are not finished with our school year. We will still have more revenue coming in. This report I did as soon as we got back last week from vacation. So we're likely to have more revenue, and we're likely to have more expenditures because things that were bought near the end of the year we'll be paying for in July. So at this point, we are in the plus. We had budgeted to be $2.4 million in the red, but we have collected more revenue than we expected. And at this point, we're actually about $65,000 in the plus. So that is great news for us.
I did have one quick question. I was reviewing the expenditures on a couple pages down here, and I was just curious, I'm not sure if I ever knew, what is the % of trails CMR fees? Do y'all know off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's 10.
I think it's
10.
10%?
We can verify that and get back to you.
That's right.
So is that expenditure on that sheet, is that their 10%, or is that just what has occurred for the Seneca Middle project thus far?
$96,000. That's not just their 10%, that is work.
That's everything. That's
And it's
the
not-
work plus markup.
It's not necessarily just the commit. Could be some other projects.
Okay, are there any other questions? All right. And also, we have policy GBEA, staff ethics, conflict of interest, nepotism. If you will lead that discussion, please.
Okay. At least every third year, the State Department of Education does a procurement audit for the food service department. And this was our year. They asked for lots of documentation that I sent to them. They asked for our code of conduct. And the only finding that they noticed in that audit was that our code of conduct didn't have any consequences listed in this particular policy. And so they gave us until July 31st to make that correction. But we didn't get the letter until after our meeting in June. So therefore, this is policy GBEA. In the next policy, which also has to do with staff conduct, the sentence that is in red there is the consequence for the policy that comes right after this one. So we just copied that and attached it to this policy. That's the only change that we're making. And I will send a copy of this along with our minutes and our agenda to the State Department of Education to meet that requirement. So that's why we've asked for first reading as well as discussion.
Okay. Did anybody have anything they needed to ask about this? Okay. All right, Mr. Hanby, a look at the I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I just want to jump in real quick because I do want to say Mr. Hanby was on vacation last week and I was in the office, so I did this calendar and there are some mistakes with it. That's what happens when you do something that's outside of your responsibility. So when he's explaining this, no, the mistakes are not his, but I will let him talk about it. So. And
I appreciate him doing it. Doing calendars are one of the, you can't make anybody happy, so we went with it. So I appreciate him doing that. But we wanted to try to get ahead of the game and not be so late doing a calendar. So we looked at, we're going to be ending the year, this upcoming school year that we started technically with July 1, before Memorial Day. So we're going to get out plenty of time to have a good summer. And we just continue to feel very strongly that it's important for our students and for our instructional programs that we finish first semester before Christmas so they can take their exams. It does not interfere with our dual enrollment crossover classes so that our kids are not missing the start of dual enrollment with that, and just offer some more flexibility for us as far as the scheduling going, and it's a better instructional calendar. So this year we went off the waiver we had for middle and high. That's why we have two different calendars when you said earlier. Next year, our proposal and recommendation is that we're going to start everybody on August the 10th. We hope that maybe the legislature will give you guys the right to decide when we start school, but we want to now get out ahead of it. And I know that there's some other districts that have proposed calendars that start before the third Monday. So we want to do that as well. We would start on the 10th. Everybody would be on the same calendar. And then, of course, you can see that we would finish on the 24th of May with the normal 2 weeks at Christmas, a spring break, 3 days at Thanksgiving, what we call the non-negotiables that our families want and that our employees want and that we all want. So we want to make sure that we have those in. We have the 10 in-service work days and that in there. At the bottom, what Dr. Thorson was talking, it's really, when you're copying and pasting, it's minor. Obviously, August 2021 should be 2022. All those 21s should be 22s, and the 22s should be 23s. The other thing that is needs to be fixed, and we wanted to talk with you more about that, we want to have a placeholder, but graduation on that would be the 27th instead of the 28th on a Saturday. But we needed to talk with you all a little bit more and let y'all think about. Little John is not available that day or the Friday before that. I've already checked. some other local districts seem to want to get way out and try to get it for several years. While it's not official, they do have their names in pencil in there, because I talked to my guy at Clemson. So for us to use Little John, it would be very difficult. But I know that I was at West Oaks graduation with Miss McCormick, and she liked having it at the school, and I think our principals like that, as long as the weather's good. The one time they're not going to like it is when it rains on Saturday morning when we have it, and we got to go in and limit the families to 2 tickets or 3 tickets or whatever it is, and have an overflow watching it on video. But we'll talk more about that with you guys. But we wanted to get out in front of it so families can make plans and know when we're going to start. But that's kind of what we have in mind.
Third mistake is the election day oversight there. So we took we need to make an in-service day on November 8th, which is updated. It just didn't get on the PDF that was sent out.
Are we now with our virtual program strong as ever over the past year? Are we able to take those weather inclement days and probably transfer them to virtual?
We are, but it's funny, the state law, the State Department sends something out and they tell us the law still says you have to have 3 inclement weather makeup days, even though we are a part of the program that allows us to do the virtual days when we have bad weather. So we do have to designate them on the calendar to be official, but it's very, very unlikely that we would have to use those. So we would anticipate getting out on the 24th.
Yeah, we just tacked them on at the end of the year to make it simple for us. But they did, last year's calendar didn't have it when we sent it to the State Department. They sent us an email. And not just us, they sent it to every district. There was an e-learning district and said you have to put that on there because nobody had included it. It made no sense, but the law hasn't changed yet.
So we'll let you probably approve that next month. So we'll have time to talk about it. We'll get a nice clean draft of this with those updates to you, and then we'll have it on the agenda. Correct.
That's nice that we won't have 2 different calendars, hopefully.
Will be good.
And we do need, we need to talk about that because the state law still says the 3rd Monday. And we feel like permission for the secondary schools based on that waiver they gave us, but this would be a little bit out of compliance, so we need to talk through that.
So we're far enough out in front with this that, if you have any questions, and I'm sure there'll be some discussions with schools and teachers and committees, but this is a draft for the 2022-23 school year. All right. At this time, Dr. Thorsland, we'd like to look at the FY22 board goals.
And we shared this. This is just kind of a 30,000-foot view at things that we would like to accomplish. And you can see here that, of course, our main goal is curriculum and instruction. That's what we're supposed to do, is teach young people in a number of subjects, but the 4 core subjects I guess we deal with the most are math, English, science, and social studies, with fine arts instruction and foreign language instruction and all kinds of associated classes. But you can see I worked with Dr. Ketterman a little bit on the CTE, which is Career and Technology Education. We made a goal there, and we'll certainly be working with HCTC to accomplish those goals. We want to work on some of our IDEA statistics, which is our special services, students with special needs. We've got a couple of areas that we've been, I guess you'd say cited, that our statistics in Oconee County are kind of out of line with what they should be. One of them is the number of students served in the regular education setting more than 80% of the day, so that's why that's a goal there. And then the other one is we just need to reduce the percentage of our students that are served in special ed. We've got a higher number of students identified than what would appear to be normal for a school district our size. So we want to work in that area. Student well-being, the multi-tiered system of support is designed to not over-identify special ed, so that kind of goes hand in hand with that third goal on the curriculum and instruction. Bullying prevention, access to mental health. Mental health is an increasing need, and while we've had a very difficult time hiring mental health counselors, Ms. Simmons did bring up this morning, we have a kind of a virtual option there that we can explore if the need arises through a partner with a software partner with us. And then operational efficiency. Obviously, we want to have top quality buildings, and I think we do. I really think if people could tour all of our buildings and then tour other school districts across the state, they would realize that our school facilities are top notch. But we want to keep it that way. And the way we do that is by trying to stay active on a building project almost all the time. We want to adequately fund our budget and try to maintain our fund balance, policy requirements. We want to see Seneca Middle moving along. We want to see that opening date for August of '24 like we hope. And then entertain a new 5 to 10 year building program. There are a lot of different avenues that we could follow as far as what comes next after Seneca Middle. It's not urgent because we're still 3 years from opening Seneca Middle, but we need to start talking about it so that people can start making, having input, and we can make decisions. And then finally, the key to any school district is the people, particularly the people that work with students every day. So we want to have a high quality workforce. We want to be competitive in how we pay so that we can have a high quality workforce. And then I guess the one new thing there is exit interviews, and Mr. Leroy's already given us a draft of some first steps there that we will work towards having in place certainly by the end of this year for any employee that separates from employment at the end of this school year. So those are just some, like I said, high-level goals that we'd like to have, and things that we'll be working on in our various divisions this year.
That high percentage in your disabilities has been that way for a long time.
It has, and we've tracked that. We've probably, as long as I can remember, been above the state average, but it's significantly above the state average now.
And is increasing.
It has.
Okay.
So we're close to 20% of our student body being identified as needing special services, and that's too high. Nationally, it's closer to 13, 14%, and there is. I don't have a good reason for why we would be that high. So we're working to explore that. That's not going to be something that we can just snap our fingers and fix. It's going to be a multi-year process to get back down to where we probably should be, but we're going to be working on it.
Anybody have any questions for Dr. Thorslin on these goals? Okay.
And I would love to be able to take the draft off this before Thursday. I don't want to rush you. We can wait till August if you would prefer, but I'd love to be able to share this with principals as kind of our goals for the year, if you feel comfortable. So.
Okay. We can vote on it later in the meeting. Y'all have had a few days to look at it and had it. So, does anybody have anything at all?
I feel like we've been working on this for a while.
We have.
So,
we have.
Yeah.
We have. All right, we can go ahead and vote on that with the action items. Unless, do we need?
It does.
Okay. All right, we'll look at this in just a few minutes. Local board approved course edition.
Yes, months ago, you all approved quite a few local board approved courses for us, and we have one new elective that we have West Oak High School and Seneca High School wanting to add to their course list for the upcoming school year. And that is High School 102, which is just an elective course, semester long. We have a teacher selected at both of those high schools that are qualified to teach that course. It can be for any student at the high school level, grades 9 through 12. It's really a course that helps provide instruction on study skills, career exploration, organization, time management, public speaking, and it's a lot of skills that they can then carry over into other courses that they take at the high school level. They're also using the 7 Habits of an Effective Teen, which is a great book to use on developing all of those skills for a teenage student. So you would see that throughout the curriculum and the syllabus for that. So we are just asking that we're able to add that course as an elective for both West Oak High and Seneca High for the upcoming school year.
And I'm sorry, what is the name of the course again?
High School 102.
Okay.
And it's only at Seneca High and
West Oak High.
It's something that all of our schools have done in the past. It's been called High School 101, and then it went to 102 for science. But it's essentially helping students get organized, just manage high school life, because it does. There's a lot of responsibility going from middle school to high school. There's less parental involvement typically as students get older, and there's less teacher involvement. The teacher doesn't necessarily hold a high school student's hand, so it's important that they learn time management. When is the appropriate time to study for that test coming up next week, and that kind of thing. So it's a positive course. It's an elective, but it does help students navigate the high school world.
I think it will absolutely help students who are going into college, because I have heard a number of students say, I didn't know how to really study, and I didn't know how to organize my time, and it was a real challenge for them.
Which is a good reason why it's open to any high school student grade level, not just 9th graders or things like that. So,
All right. So let's go ahead and get started on that. Did anyone have any more questions for Mrs. Simmons on that? All right, if I could have a motion then to approve the local board-approved course, High School 102 for the 2021-2022 at West Oak High School and Seneca High School.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions at all? All in favor? Okay. All right, let's go back to the FY22 board goals. As Dr. Ketterman referenced, we've been working on this a while, so I think we've all had time to look at this. I will, at this point, entertain a motion to approve the FY22 board goals.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any more discussion, any questions? All in favor? Okay. And then we have one more action item, and that is to approve on first reading policy GBEA, staff ethics, conflict of interest, nepotism. Do I have a motion there?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right, any more questions, discussion? All in favor? All right, this ends our regularly scheduled meeting, and at this time we will go into executive session for personnel items and employment recommendations and changes. Thank y'all for being here tonight.